This news update is brought to you by
This is the 7 a.m. Barbados Today update for Friday, June the 13th, 2014. I'm Emmanuel Joseph. Good morning. As a second downgrade hangs over the Barbados economy by Standard & Poor's, it's warning government to speed up reduction of its massive fiscal deficit. S&P's Director of Sovereign Ratings, Richard Francis, tells Barbados Today the Frontier Stewart administration must fast forward how it plans to cut the worrying deficit. Francis notes that last year, when his agency downgraded Barbados 3 notches and gave it a negative outlook, the deficit was extremely large.
We maintain a negative outlook, and I think the most important thing for us is that, that the government is able to, number one, the government is able to make the fiscal adjustments that it's announced, but number two, also that they, that we start to see some kind of economic growth, and I think that's the key weakness so far, and I think the type of growth that we would want to see would be more on coming from the external side, a boost in tourism and also foreign direct investment, because I think ultimately that's what it's going to take to really allow the economy to grow at a more healthy pace.
And Virgin Atlantic is slashing its workforce in the region by at least 21, but the airline says it will keep the Barbados sales and ticketing office open. The airline also gives the assurance that the decision would not affect flights into the region as it consolidates some of its Caribbean support activities into the North American head office. Virgin says, too, it was currently consulting with the affected workers and will try to retain employees where possible. It also makes it clear that it's committed to a presence in the region, pointing to the fact that the airline has flown over 3 million passengers into Barbados since its inaugural flight in 1998. In sports, football's World Cup is on the way, with host team Brazil sending a clear message in yesterday's opening game against Croatia. The Samba Boys kicked off the world's greatest sporting show with a 3-1 beating of Croatia. The next matches are today between Mexico and Cameroon, followed in the evening by defending champions Spain, who will come up against Netherlands, and then Chile versus Australia. Tomorrow it's Colombia and Greece, Uruguay versus Costa Rica, and England versus Italy.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Hi, I'm Red Plastic Bag. Anyone who knows me knows I don't like cold. Sunshine reigns in my country. I love it.
It's your sun power.
In Dominica, health officials are faced with what has been described as a major battle in the fight against chikungunya, owing to what they say is a reluctance of residents to accept that the disease is transmitted by mosquitoes. District Medical Officer Dr. Candia Jacob told a panel discussion on the disease that if Dominicans are not convinced, they are not going to do much. She said the matter has got so bad that environmental health officers have taken to threatening people with the law if they don't get rid of containers that breed mosquitoes. Dominica is one of the Caribbean islands in which the disease is spreading. On the international scene, President Barack Obama says the Iraqi government needs additional help from the U.S. to deal with insurgency in the country. He says his team was looking at all options to stop jihadists getting what he calls a permanent foothold in Iraq.
So my team is working around the clock to identify how we can provide the most effective assistance to them. I don't rule out anything because we do have a stake in making sure that these jihadists are not getting a permanent foothold in either Iraq or Syria, for that matter.
That's been the 7 a.m. update. Join us again at noon, but until then, log on to www.barbadostoday.bb, subscribe to our e-paper, and like us on Facebook to get more news and sports. I'm Emmanuel Joseph.
This news update is brought to you by